host HC. With me is.
Whoa.
And today we're a bit of a bit late to this party, but what can you do that we had other things we wanted to do before this?
Not
Um,
that late.
yeah, when I put it that way, that's what happened. We can't deny this, but today we're talking about Justice League, the movie, both versions of it.
Mostly the recent version.
Yeah, we should clarify that we are mostly talking about the Snyder Cut, which was released a few weeks ago. But the way we're approaching this is from the point of view that I've seen both versions. I've seen both the theatrical version that was released, which we will refer to as the Whedon Cut, just to have, just to make it clearer that I'm talking about the theatrical version. And the Snyder Cut is the HBO 4 hours long one. So I've seen both versions. Wolf have only seen the Snyder Cut. Am I right?
Yep.
And what is your overall experience with this universe, with the DCEU?
With the DCEU, just this.
Just this. Oh boy, didn't you know everyone? Well, to be honest, actually, you probably walked into this movie knowing a lot about these characters, like anyone else who has actually seen the previous movies.
I know Wonder Woman, I know Superman, I know The Flash, I know Cyborg, I know Batman, and I know, Aquaman.
Like, you know them as characters, but
Yeah.
not necessarily in this context.
Not this context, no.
Okay, so from my point of view, I've seen all the movies which came out before Justice League. After the Whedon cut, I was like, I'm done. The only one that I saw afterwards was Wonder Woman 1984, which my mother basically forced me to sit down and watch with her. And sometimes your parents are doing bad things to you, children. You should know that for the future, but that's
I
another
understood
story.
that was one of the good ones.
No, Wonder Woman 1984, the new one, not the first one.
Compared to the other ones, the way I understood it, the Wonder Woman series is the only good ones.
The first is okay. The second one, no. But Wonder Woman 1984 is a story for another day because I don't want to talk about it now. But anything else before this, like Man of Steel, I didn't hate, but I also didn't love. Batman v Superman was just laughable.
I heard the fights were good. That's all. That's the only good thing I've heard about it.
Yeah, the fights are good, but everything else leading to the fights, no, just no. Like, okay, and you know what? Ben Affleck and Henry Cavill are not bad Batman and Superman, respectively, by any stretch of the imagination. But they have nothing to work with. That movie was just so disappointing. I mean, Suicide Squad not good, but you really don't need to watch Suicide Squad in order to understand this, honestly. And the original Wonder Woman is alright, but that's my personal experience with the DCEU. And just before we actually get started on this, I do want to point something out. I know that people are gonna say, it's better than Marvel. One, no. No, you are not going to convince me that this is better than the MCU, because the MCU had a plan. They had a way to tell the story. They had a chain of events that they actually carefully planned out.
Having seen this and having seen, again, I've not seen all of the DCU film, all the DC, extended EU films, so take what I'm about to say with a grain of salt, I suppose. But having seen this and comparing it to the most comparable Marvel thing, which would be the Avengers, I would rather watch the Avengers.
Yeah, I would agree with this. And here's the funny thing that, the Avengers, the first one, was directed by Joss Whedon as a whole. And then you bring Joss Whedon to direct the theatrical version of Justice League after Zack Snyder stepped down due to his. Supposedly, it was due to his daughter committing suicide, and he wanted to be with his family to deal with that,
Mhm.
which completely understandable.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
God bless our soul and everything. But
Mhm.
there were rumors going around that Warner Brothers actually fired him before this happened. And when his daughter committed suicide, they just kind of roll with it and said that that's the reason he's not doing directing the reshoots for that movie.
Mm.
I'm not sure if that's true. It could be complete BS, but this was a story that ran around for a while. So, um,
Conspiracy
one
theory is
of
gonna conspiracy
uh,
theory.
yeah, like I think the real villain in this entire thing, Warner Brothers are the real villains of this entire story. But with that said, so Wolf, you've only seen this movie,
Mhm.
this version.
Mhm.
What are your quick non-spoilery thoughts?
Non-spoiler thoughts. I mean, I didn't hate my time with it. I think it's an okay film, but that's honestly all I can give it. I think my if I had to pick like one gripe that I would give you in non-spoiler thoughts very quickly, this film is just so dark, and I don't mean in a gritty way. I mean in a color way and a lighting way, and that's one of the
That
reasons why I enjoy the Avengers more. Like all of the Marvel films, they utilize color. This
Yeah, that's
film just
actually this is
doesn't.
actually something that not so much in Man of Steel, but Zack Snyder did do this in like Batman v Superman. He has a very
That's all
dark
of his
color
films. Like
scheme.
every time I
Yeah.
watch a Zack Snyder film, I feel like I've traveled back in time to the early 2000s, like the early 2000s, because, that
Oh
age of
yeah,
dark
when
film when all
yeah,
films
I
had to
know
be
what you're
like
talking about.
in dark rooms, barely lit with all the colors washed out, and you're like squinting just to see like what just happened. Did someone kill
Yeah, I
someone?
get
I
you.
don't know. I cannot tell. And that's like Zack
Mhm.
Snyder to a nutshell. And it's like I really truly wish this man would use color in his films and not be so afraid of it. Like,
um,
stop
well,
with the gray, dull ass, dingy ass, motherfucking colorless, dark ass rooms. Stop it. Use
yeah,
color, Zack Snyder. This is me pleading with you specifically because I know you watch The Outcast. I know you love it. It's a great show. And you're a great person,
of
I'm
course.
sure. But just use a little bit of color. I promise you, I guarantee you, I assure you, it won't tank your film. It would only help it. You can still use your dark rooms that you love so much. Just add a little bit of color in there. For me.
Only for Wolf. Everyone else can go to hell. everyone who signed the release the Snyder Cut petition, like you don't matter, just Wolf. We've only seen this movie from the franchise.
I'm the only one that counts. I'm
Mhm.
not your fan. I'm not your biggest fan, Zack Snyder, but I'm the only fan that matters.
Of course.
Well, non-fan
With
at
that
least.
said, with that said, my non-spoiler thoughts, and so just to say, when it comes to the Whedon cut, that movie, putting it very bluntly, is not good. And people who've seen both would swear up and down that the Snyder cut is 10 times better, to the point it's a different movie entirely,
I can't
and
say.
that it. So I'll tell you, these people, and I'm sorry about this, but I'm not sure if they really wanted this to be so great that they are saying this, but this is not a completely new movie. It's the same movie done, which is done better because, Flash and Cyborg, and to an extent Aquaman, have a bit more to them, like they're actual characters, which
Mm,
we get to know. But other than that, it's the same story. It's the same exact story, but just done longer. And Granted, with it being done longer, again, the characters can actually be characters, and we get some new moments and stuff. But at the end of the day, the core story is still the core story, and the core
Mhm.
story, in my opinion, is just not good. So that's my point of view
You
on
know,
it.
before we jump into actual spoiler territory, quick question for you. I would
Yeah.
love to, as we go over it, like you kind of point out like things that weren't in the original cut compared to what was in this cut. Because I'm curious, because
Yes.
I have a specific question when we get into spoilers.
There are some stuff. There are also some scenes that were in the Whedon cut, but not in the Snyder
Yeah,
cut.
I'm
But
very curious, especially considering Lois, and I think you'll know what I'm talking about when I mention her. I'm curious what was added there and what wasn't there before. I'm very
honestly,
curious of that.
with Lois specifically, I
Let's
don't think there wasn't something that was added or taken out. If there was something which was added or taken out, it's very slight.
then all I can say is holy shit. Anyways, moving on though.
Holy shit! In what sense though?
We'll get there when we get to spoilers. Haha.
Okay then.
But I do want to ask, right? You know, thinking of just this movie, not thinking of any other of the DCEU films. Like if you like me, you just watched the Zack Snyder cut and that was it, and you hadn't seen any of the other films yet for whatever reason. Favorite character
Favorite character.
from this film?
Yeah, from the Snyder Cut specifically.
Hmm.
I want to say the Flash, but that's mostly because I always had a soft spot for the fast characters.
Here's the thing. I would say the Flash as well, and that's not having a soft spot for fast characters. That's just the actor, the character. He
Yeah,
laughs, he
you know,
smiles, he
so
jokes. There's a
yeah,
character there.
actually, that's something actually that the Whedon cut does with this character, and that they basically make him the comic relief. Like every punchline that they wrote into the Whedon cut, the Flash is usually the one that says that quote unquote funny line.
But it
Uh,
gives him character though compared to everyone
yeah,
else. Because the
yeah.
film's so dark and you like Batman, right? Like there's not a lot of dialogue in this film for it to be 4 hours long, by the way. Like there's very little spoken dialogue, and I know like the big rule in film that you'll hear so many people trot out, show, don't tell. But see, here's the thing about show, don't tell. That doesn't mean you can't have dialogue. Dialogue is how we as an audience get to, familiarize ourselves with your characters. We can't just say, we can't connect with and
and
understand
you
your
know,
characters off of brooding face,
yeah, and
slightly
here's the
happy
thing.
face, angry face, glare,
Yeah.
and that's all we get. We get no character from that. I'm sorry, Batman.
Well,
The actor
honestly,
who plays him might be great, but there's just no dialogue between
Wolf,
him and anyone
Wolf,
else.
Wolf. Let's be honest. That's kind of been a problem with Batman in
Not
general.
really, in my opinion.
Boo!
Not really, in my opinion. I think there's
Man.
plenty of stuff you can watch where, again, Batman has dialogue and there's an actual character to it. Look at all the
Yeah,
animated Justice League shit. That's
yeah.
a
That's
character.
true. No. That's like, but that's like I notice, at least to me, that's like an exception rather than the rule, basically. To
Mm,
me, at least.
I don't know. I think there's like
Mm.
even the old Bruce Nolan films. I think Batman had more character than what this one does. Now, again, I've not seen the other Batman films. Maybe that would change my opinion. But you do
Actually,
need character.
speaking of which, not necessarily regarding Batman, but like the thing, to those who don't know, Zack Snyder considered this like his trilogy ending to Superman story. You know, Man of Steel, Batman v Superman. This. So I will say, for Superman's character, I didn't feel an arc at the slightest. Like in the Whedon cut, fine stuff for changing, but even with this cut, I felt nothing for Superman. Like I didn't feel like he developed. I didn't feel like he learned anything. I didn't feel like bringing him back from the dead, which is a problem in its own, mind you. But we'll get to that.
Heck, I
I just
feel Cyborg had
I
a decent little arc in this one. I
yeah
can give that.
yeah.
So did Flash.
Mhm. But
And
again, this is the thing that we are considering this like the big ending to Superman's story. Like this is supposed to bring us the Superman we know. I don't feel that. And like, again, no disrespect to Henry Cavill, who does the best he can
I mean,
with
I think
nothing, basically.
I'll give Henry
Um,
Cavill credit. He does, in my opinion, he makes a good Superman here.
no, he does. He does. There are several points, even in this version, where I look at him and I say, "Yeah, that's fucking Superman." But
Mhm.
give him a good script to work with.
Fair, very fair. Looking at right the epilogue for this, it
Okay, you know what?
well,
Before
I'm
you
just saying,
go
like
into this,
you said that it was this was Zack Snyder said this was supposed to be the ending arc to Superman's story, and then looking at the epilogue to this, I find that a little bit curious to say. But again, I don't
yeah,
have
because
the other films
that's
under my
another
belt,
thing,
so
though. Okay, without giving too much away, there are a few things that were like left in the open for like the future, because Zack Snyder also
mhm.
said what his plans were for Justice League 2 and Justice League 3. But at the same time, like, whether you like those plans or not, and what Warner Brothers confirmed that the Snyder Cut is not canon in terms of where they are going with that cinematic universe. Like Wonder Woman in 1984, it's not canon to it. The Aquaman movie, which I haven't seen, but not canon to it. And like they just,
What?
and I think even Snyder himself said this Snyder cut, the future DCEU movies are going to ignore it completely. The Whedon cut is what we have going forward,
Wait,
which,
so let me make sure here. Wonder Woman 1984, Aquaman,
yeah.
and Zack
Mhm.
Snyder's Justice League are not canon to the DCEU.
No. They are canon. Like Wonder Woman 1984 and Aquaman are canon to
Are
the
canon.
DCEU.
So all the
The
other
Snyder
films,
cut,
all the
no,
other
the Snyder cut specifically, the Snyder cut of Justice League
is the only one
ain't
that's not canon.
canon.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Just to be clear.
like if the characters are referencing something from Justice League, it's the Whedon cut, not the Snyder cut.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, and at this point, I just think, what was the point of even completing this? If you know what I mean. Like, and don't get me wrong, as a filmmaker myself, or wants to make it, it's great that the man actually managed to get his own vision, which was highly tempered with. It's great for him that he managed to get that vision out, and
Yeah.
kudos to him. But if it's not gonna matter to anything going forward, why bother?
Dollar bills, I guess, yo. They hoped it would sell better. I don't know. Hey,
Yeah, because
if you can resell the same film but longer, why not? I guess.
Mhm,
Because I'm sure they
suppose.
already cut all. I'm sure they already filmed all that stuff anyways. They just had to cut it together properly.
No,
So,
There were some reshoots. There were
oh,
some
or
things
some.
that,
Okay, okay, no, that's
yeah,
fair.
some things were filmed to add to it. Some things were. I think actually the one of the famous scenes, which we'll get to in spoilers, was actually filmed specifically for this. But let's just start going over spoilers.
Yeah, I mean, to end off our non-spoiler part, okay film. Honestly, going to say it way longer than it needs to be. There's a lot of stuff I feel that you could cut that would be okay to cut that you don't need. I'm surprised they made this film in the 4 hours, but then looking at some of the stuff they do in this film, I understand why it's 4 hours. There's a lot of time wasted in this
Suppose
film.
there is also a thing that originally this was supposed to be like a part one and part two. So
Mm,
what they did was just like combine part one and part two together. I think that's the idea. But
that'd be a little bit
uh,
more bearable, but I still say there's a lot of superfluous stuff going on in this film that you don't necessarily need. But to be honest, if you watch a lot of Zack Snyder's films, that's kind of something that's in them. A lot of superfluous stuff that you don't really need. That's just there because he is an artiste
mhm.
when he
And from
kind of
my point of
isn't.
view, is it better than the Whedon cut? Yes.
Yeah.
Does it make it an excellent movie that everyone has to see? No. And I, but at the same time, I know that the people who liked Snyder's Man of Steel and Batman v Superman and would stand by those movies really enjoyed this. So I guess it depends.
It
So
depends on what you're in
obviously,
for and what you want.
yeah.
Like again, Zack
So
Snyder's
again, I
not a bad
think,
filmmaker.
yeah, like so for all intents and purposes, if you liked Snyder's version up to this point, then you'll probably enjoy this one.
Like yeah,
But if you didn't really care for the previous movies, then this is nothing that would like change your mind or make it like the grand comeback. And this is definitely not enough to compete with the MCU.
I mean that's it's again it's Zack Snyder in a nutshell, right? Either you like his films or you don't like his films. Like it's very much there's not a lot of in between for him, right?
Yeah, and that's the weird thing because my point on him is that I'm kind of in the in between, even if I'm negative about it. Like Man of Steel, I was in between. Batman v Superman, for the most part, I was in
I
between.
mean all his films like
This,
300
yeah,
and all the other ones,
this
right? Just
one,
all those.
this one again, I'm kind of in between. Like, actually, you know what? There's honest trailers on the Snyder Cut said it best. We went from a terrible 2-hour movie to a mediocre 4-hour movie. That's the best way to describe it in a nutshell.
I like how I say 300 and he didn't actually direct that one thinking about it. Well, he did direct 300. Never mind. I'm thinking of Rise of Empire. He didn't direct that one. I've never seen that one.
With
But
that said,
yeah,
with that
but
said,
it's I wouldn't recommend this film because it's 4 hours long, and I don't necessarily think it's worth the 4 hours. But if you have 4 hours to kill and you've got nothing better to do, nothing else
like
you want to
me,
do,
like me,
you
who
could
was
be
sick in bed
worse.
when he saw this.
You could do a lot worse than the Zack Snyder Justice League cut.
Yeah, I would agree with this. Like,
On
definitely, if you just have to watch Justice League, see this, ignore the Whedon cut. That's really the
like
best way to
me.
describe it. Yeah, basically. Be like Wolf.
Go into it with
And
no prior knowledge whatsoever and have no idea what's going on in the first 10 minutes.
yeah.
But getting into
So,
spoilers.
yeah, so spoilers from this point on for both cuts, obviously. 3, 2, 1. You still here? Good. Okay, so what do you want to say about spoilers?
Spoilers, I had no fucking clue what was going on for the first 10 or more minutes.
Actually, something that I'm not sure if you could attribute it to not seeing the previous, because the Snyder Cut starts with a recap of the ending of Batman v Superman.
I know that
Like,
Superman apparently yelled out no, some boxes went haywire, and we kind of fast forward a bit here or there, and apparently Superman died.
yeah, so what happened at the end of Batman v Superman, which was so stupid, and I still think it's stupid, is that Superman dies. Okay, Superman dies, saving the world basically from Doomsday. If you know the comics, you know that's something that
Yeah,
happens.
yeah,
So
yeah. I know who
he
Doomsday is. I
sacrificed.
know that one.
So yeah, so he sacrifices
That was
himself
supposed to
by
be Doomsday.
yeah.
That didn't look like Doomsday.
Actually, you know something, when the trailers for Batman v Superman came out and we saw Doomsday for a second, people tried to defend that awful design by saying, nah, this will be like Doomsday will have a stronger design, like when he gets stronger and bigger and stuff. And then the actual movie came out, and that design was like the final design after he goes through all the evolution. It's like, uh-huh. You
Which
were
is
right,
saying,
but you were also wrong.
something because they have some good designs in this movie. Why is
Yeah.
Doomsday so shit?
Well, Doomsday was kind of carried over from Batman v Superman, and he's not in it for long, so
I mean, yeah,
whatever.
but I assume these other designs that are in the Justice League were in, Batman v Superman. So again, why is Doomsday so shit?
Because shut up. Anyway, That's the only explanation. But yeah, so we're starting with that recap, which Superman killed him, sacrificed himself by stabbing Doomsday with a kryptonite spear, which obviously affected him too. And then, this is something that Batman v Superman doesn't really establish, that the mother boxes will supposedly went AYL. And
because of
this
Superman's
whole,
scream,
yeah.
which is
And this,
no. When
yeah.
that's another thing I don't get. Like Superman screams out no, like he didn't want to die, but then we're told throughout the movie, like Batman's like I made a promise to him that I would protect the world, that he
Which,
sacrificed himself, and I'm like,
by the way,
sounded to me like he was screaming out no, which means he didn't want
yeah,
you to kill him. But okay,
yeah,
sure, let's go with that. Like,
yeah. For one, Superman did make a conscious choice to do this, which, sure,
which
this might have.
fine. Again, that's again, Superman sacrifices himself. He does that. Like he's supposed to do stuff like that, right? That's fine. Why is he screaming out no?
I have no answer.
Like
I do
why?
not know.
If it was why, like why does the scream have to sound like no? Why not just be like a scream in pain of him dying and that's it? Why does it have to be no? Like he didn't want to die. Like you could have picked anything better. Even beyond that though, like right, I don't think I needed to see the scene with Doomsday and them standing there and the kryptonite spear and all of that, right? The only thing I needed to see was, and they show you this, right? They show you, his mom standing over their graves. And you immediately, okay, Superman said, that's all I need. Just open with that shot. Open with Superman's mom, his human mom standing over his grave, and that's it. Like it says Clark
By
Kent,
the
and she
way,
drive, and you see her get in her truck and drive away, and you see the farm has been sold. That's all I need. That's it.
yeah.
Do that.
Speaking of
That's
which,
literally 10 minutes that you could have saved me that I didn't need to see.
okay, so two interesting things to tell you. Like, for one, this is a Batman v Superman thing, but if we brought this up, sure, that when you said that we see Martha Kent, looking over Clark's tomb, grave, sorry,
Mm-hmm. You're fine.
but the thing
Same
is
thing.
that,
One's more
yeah,
fancy.
so there's this thing where in Batman v Superman, where they say that Superman died, and they said that Clark Kent was like a reporter that happened to be at the area and got killed by Doomsday. That's their way of covering up that Clark Kent is Superman.
Yeah.
So my thing is, if Superman / Clark is in the Superman coffin, what's in the Clark Kent coffin? Like, what did they put there? Is it just empty, or did they put something like a fake body there?
Don't ask. Don't ask questions.
Yeah, I
Like you
guess
told me. Shut up.
Yeah, I was just about to say, but this is just me overthinking things.
Oh no! Again, like
But,
you can overlook little small things like that. It's not a big deal, right?
yeah, I know. This is just me being.
Oh yeah, I know. Trying to be
This is
nitpicky.
me
I get
being.
you. Jokey
Yeah,
nitpick.
this is.
I know.
Yeah, I was about to say a joking asshole, but whatever.
But
What?
the only thing, but again, right? Like that's one of my things though. Like that first, I want to say 10 minutes or so. There's a lot of that just I feel like I don't need that. It could have been, again, that was easily conveyed when you had
And this
his
is
mom
something I
standing over
want.
his grave. The only thing that happens in that first 10 minutes or so is you see, if I'm not mistaken, it's that first 10 minutes or so. The Amazons fighting Steppenwolf. Like that's the only thing that
Yeah.
happens that's
So
different.
before we
No,
get to this,
no, that does happen. That happens after the fact. Yeah,
yeah,
that happens after the fact, I'm pretty sure. So you don't
yeah.
need the
So
first 10 minutes. It's just a bunch of scenes of seeing the
and
Atlanteans and the Amazons and, all the boxes activating and being weird. And I
so
don't feel like I need that. Maybe a little
yeah.
bit of that,
So
but
this
not that
is
much of that.
and this is where I want to bring the Whedon cut in for a second, because this starts with there's a point between Man of Steel and Batman v Superman where Superman supposedly saved a few people, and we see two kids filming him with a cell phone after he made sure everyone is safe, and there are two kids interviewing Superman for a podcast, and then after
Too
this
real.
we get to huh?
Too
Yeah, too
real.
real for us. But and then like it cuts to just seeing like all the memorial stuff that people did for Superman. Like you see the newspaper, Superman is dead, and you see his logo being hung over buildings, and seeing like that crime increases, and like you said, Martha Kent is selling the farm and to leave. Would you consider this a better opening?
I would have to see it to be exactly sure, but probably because again, it's you don't need to like have the big no and the scream traveling along and everything like that. Like, I feel like you can cut quite a bit of that and still get the same idea across that Superman is dead and that you know these boxes have started acting like we don't need to have a reason as to why the boxes have started going haywire, right?
Hmm.
You can just
Yeah.
show the boxes going haywire, like and that's it. Like, you don't need to come up with a reason why. Like, not everything has to be connected. Like, let the audience draw their own connections, their own conclusions. Maybe the boxes just started doing so. It doesn't really matter.
Mhm.
The fact of the matter is they just are. Why they're doing
Yeah.
so, who cares? We just need to know that they are. We need to know that Steppenwolf has come looking for them. Darkseid has come looking for them, and we learn that later, and then we learn that. And again, we just need to learn how the boxes got there eventually at some point, and we do learn that. We learn all of that, like, right? So it's like all the extra stuff of linking Superman's death to the boxes activating and showing it in this slow mo of just watching this scream of no follow along and getting to see Lois go and hear the scream and all these other and like getting to hear Lex Luthor hear the scream when he's talking to whoever the fuck he's talking to, with also
Yeah.
showing the three box. Like, what the fuck is Lex Luthor doing there? Like, what the fuck is that scene of him like talking to
That,
what looks like Steppenwolf with the three boxes? And it's like, I have no clue. You just showed me a random scene of Lex Luthor talking to what looks like Steppenwolf in the like metal armor stuff, and then you see three
oh
metal
no,
boxes in front of him.
that's Deathstroke.
Deathstroke. Okay, I have no clue what's going on there. I have no idea why you bothered to show me that.
This like I'm not sure about this, but like Deathstroke supposedly like this is you're talking about a scene that's taking place way later though, isn't it?
No, that happens in the first 10 minutes. Like, you hear
The,
Superman scream of no,
yeah,
and you
no,
see
with Lex
him.
Luthor.
Yeah, Lex Luthor. No, that's at the end. That's with Deathstroke. I'm talking
Yeah.
about at the very beginning. In the first
Hmm.
10 minutes, you
Oh
hear
yeah,
Superman
yeah.
scream of no, and you follow that scream of no, and like Lex Luthor turns, hearing the scream of no, traveling across the globe, and you see Lex Luthor getting, talking to the what looks like Steppenwolf, and you see the three mother boxes, and it's like, I have no clue what that is about. That never has anything else to do with the film whatsoever. It's just Lex Luthor was talking to a person that looked like Steppenwolf, and that was it.
Yeah,
Like,
okay,
I
I
don't
get you, but I don't
understand
get it
why
as
you
well.
flashed that scene up, right? I just don't. Like, what was the point in that? I'm sure a super fan will come in and tell me, this was the point. I don't
Yeah,
need it.
but yeah, but here's the thing, and I will say that my DC knowledge is very, I guess, common. Like I've seen the animated shows, I've seen the animated shows, I've played
I
some
mean,
of
I'm
the
I'm not a
Arkham
big
games and
DC
stuff.
fan either. Like, I've
Yeah, but
seen
like if I
stuff and played
don't,
a few things
and
and seen
like
a few
if
movies
I
here and there.
don't
That's it.
know, yeah, but like
Yeah.
if I don't know a certain thing that happened in one part of the comic, which would they reference or something, then okay, fair point. I don't know it, but at the same time, as a moviegoer, don't expect me to know every single thing about these characters. And I hate to be the one bringing this up, but that's why the MCU works, because they give you references, but they are not making them crucial
Well, I mean,
for the story.
a lot of those references though are, to be honest, in the movie are from previous movies themselves, right? Like, they don't like, you'll see
Yeah, but at the,
references to the comics, but they're very
yeah, but at the
obscure.
same time, like you said, Lex Luthor and Stephen Wolf. These,
What looks like
there,
Steppenwolf.
what?
I don't know.
Yeah, but but the thing is that if you want to introduce this to me, this wasn't really set up in Batman v Superman. Like all we know is that Luthor is in jail. That's it. That's what we leave him in Batman v Superman.
I don't know. I can just tell you, it's just like that. That it's weird, and again, that goes back to one of my problem. And again, like that's one of my big problems with the film of a lot of superfluous stuff that I don't feel is needed. Right, like talking about Lois. Like I mentioned Lois before we got into spoilers. There's a
Yeah,
lot of scenes with Lois that I just don't feel we need. Like I get it, Superman's dead. She's hurting from that, right? But the only thing I really need from her is have, show us her talking with Clark's mom, which is actually, Martian
yeah.
Manhunter in
It,
disguise. Show
mhm.
that scene.
Yeah. By the way, that was so stupid. That was so freaking stupid. I literally started the screen and went, "What? Why though?
Here's the
What
thing.
is the
I watched
reason?"
that and my immediate reaction was, who is that? Like I watched that and then I see, Martha Kent transform into alien looking dude. I'm like, who is that supposed to be?
No, like
No,
I
seriously,
realized
who
this.
is that supposed to be? Like, I didn't know it was Martian Manhunter because the scene was so dark and you couldn't see
Yeah,
his skin
I could.
color or you
Yeah,
couldn't
I
see,
get you.
like, anything that really identified him as Martian Manhunter that I would know of from knowing that character. Like, I looked at that scene and I'm like, who the fuck is that? Why is he talking to Lois? Nothing for, and
Yeah,
that's like at the hour and a
there's
half to 2 hour mark that happens. And then for like the rest of the film until the
yeah,
very
like
end,
until
you
the
see
yeah until the
nothing
very
else. And it's
end.
like, who the fuck was that? Who the
Yeah.
fuck was
No,
that? The entire
I
film.
reckon
That's what I'm going. I'm like
I
trying to figure out who the fuck that was. In the
I
very
like
end, I finally see him in actual lighting and it hits me. Oh, that's Martian Manhunter. And he says it. Oh, I was right. Why the fuck
and
was he
like
all the way there at the beginning with Lois?
no, like I don't get the idea. Why was he Martha Kent to begin with? And again, I know the character. You know, he was in the Justice League cartoon in the '90s. Fine, but at the same time, like, what does this have to do with it with
What I,
anything?
I
Like,
I
what
get what they're trying to do because like right, they show you the epilogue with Superman going evil because Lois apparently dies, right? And like they even set up this thing of Batman realizing that Lois is somehow the key to something, right? And I think like their idea is, right, Martian Manhunter, I think he can like predict the future or something like that, right? In the DC comic stuff.
something I don't remember on top of my head.
Don't quote me. I'm not gonna get it right. Yell at me later, super fans. I'm wrong probably, but like I think his thing is like he knew Lois needed to like get back out there and be around again, right? Because if she wasn't, then Superman would probably have killed all of the other Justice League people when he first revived. But it's like it just I don't know. It feels like a weirdish setup to a degree. Like I don't know if it was inherently necessary, but it's not the worst way to introduce him. I would say, right? I think there's plenty of worse ways you could do it.
Why was he Martha Kent though? I just
Again, just to
this
talk to
still
Lois.
bug
Like if he showed up at Lois's
yeah, but
doorstep looking like Martian
why?
Manhunter, that wouldn't exactly work. So he did it
I
as someone
guess,
close to
but
him. Like
yeah,
I
I
get what they're
guess, but
going for, but I don't think it's done extremely well, in my opinion. Right?
oh well. So we do have that, and so now next big thing, Steppenwolf. I will say I hated him in the Whedon cut. Like he was just lame, and here is less lame, but still lame.
He has some good fight scenes.
Yeah,
That's
but
about
okay,
it.
and I will credit them this. I like his design in this version more than the Whedon cut. Not
It
that
was
there was,
different.
yeah, it no spikes, no threatening, and he looks like a Skyrim character.
Uh-huh. Okay.
And so in that, he just kind of shows up on Themyscira, and he like looks at the box and is like, "Mother, I have come for you," and that's it. That's the motivation. That's his motivation to find in the mother boxes. And then we in
Oh my
here,
god, he looks so much worse.
you actually looked it
I
up.
did. I was curious. Yeah, I'll give the Snyder Cut credit.
So yeah,
Steppenwolf looks way better in the Snyder Cut
yeah.
than he does in
So
the original.
I will say about Steppenwolf that his design in the Snyder Cut way better, and at least I actually get what he's trying to do with the mother boxes. It's not that just he misses his mother. He is collecting them in order to prepare the earth for Darkseid's arrival, basically. And okay, that's at least a motivation. That's at least something. But at the same time, I still don't give two shits about this guy
I
because
mean,
at the end of the day, he's just a pawn doing someone
yeah.
else's work.
I don't think you're
And that
supposed to care about him.
yeah, but here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. This is supposed to be the Justice League, right? This is supposed to be all of those heroes coming together to fight a bigger threat, and it's like I feel like each one of those people can take him out by themselves, and hell, Superman actually kind of does when he shows up in the final fight.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of like why they bring him back, because we can't beat him, but he can. None of us can do it
Yeah.
together, but he can do it all by himself. And
But
that's
it's
another thing.
bullshit. That's bullshit, though. Each one of them can do it.
I mean, that's another thing, though. It feels like, right, the Justice League isn't really the Justice League in this. It feels like, and I guess I kind of get that because this is supposed to be the first film, and they'll get better at it as they go on. But the Avengers, when they came together, it felt like the Avengers, right? Even in the first film,
Yeah.
it's like, this is the Avengers. This is them all working together,
And by the
all
way,
doing something.
speaking of the Avengers, though, people would say, well, like Thor by himself could beat Loki, and each one of them could like beat Loki on their own. But the thing is that Loki had an army. Loki had a plan. Loki had more than just himself at the end of this. And yeah, Darkseid
I mean,
has those parademons, yes, but at the same, but again, in
yeah.
the final fight, it seems like those things, their focus is to like try and bring down Steppenwolf as a team, and even that fails until Superman shows up.
Yeah, it's I don't know. It's very much one of those things of it doesn't really feel like they're inherently working together. It just feels like a bunch of these heroes are on screen together and they're all kind of doing their own thing. Like, heck, you have, Flash just kind of running around in a circle at the big final battle, and
By
that's
the
his
way,
entire thing. That's it.
That's actually something that I will give the Snyder Cut credit for, because in the original it's basically like Superman kind of leaves the fight for a second so him and Flash could save families and civilians that might be around in this toxic airspace, and so
How would there be
that's
civilians around in this area?
there's a family that lives nearby. Don't ask questions. But
It's
so
supposed to basically be Chernobyl. Did they not understand that no one lives within like hundreds of miles of that area?
I don't know, Wolf. I didn't write it. I'm not. I'm just telling you what's going on in that version, which, for the record, I haven't seen since
I think
TS.
I absolutely got the better version. I don't know if that's necessarily a good thing. I don't
Yeah.
think this better
No, no,
version
no.
is like great,
You
but
got a better version.
I definitely got the better
You got a
version.
better
It
version.
sounds like.
No, definitely, definitely. Again, it's a better movie. It just doesn't make it necessarily good.
Mm.
That's my. So the thing is, so Flash is basically just running around saving people in that. Here they actually gave him like an arc that he's actually trying to charge himself up and hold that in time so that him and Cyborg could blow the mother boxes off. And that was actually a good moment for him. That was actually I'm invested.
Heck,
I
they have
actually
some
want him to
amazing
succeed.
effects, like seeing him just basically rewind time completely, right? And like that's his rule:
Yeah.
never do this. Like, don't do this, never do this. And he's like, I got to break the rule, and I got to break it right now. And he rewinds time, and you just see kind of everything reversing as he, finally gives Cyborg the charge he needs to get inside and destroy the boxes, right? Like, that was good. That was really good.
Yeah.
And
There's also
heck,
another moment, and there's actually another Flash moment that I actually like when Superman comes to life. He comes back to life, and like he's fighting the Justice League. Which again, why does this league exist when Superman can take all of them down? Again, problem with the Justice League. Like
this is before Batman has his plans to take down each and every member of the Justice League, just in case they go. This is before all that, Batman's not like my plans and plans and plans and plans and plans, right? This isn't that Batman, apparently.
Yeah, but again, this is kind of eyebrow raising because this is obviously going for like the idea of like the Dark Knight Returns, which is a much older and much more experienced Batman, and this is also the same one which says when he first saw Superman that like if we if there's even one chance that he could serve as a threat to us, we must take it as an absolute necessity. So it's like again in Batman v Superman he actually beats Superman. So it's like, wouldn't you have a bit more in case he wakes up and starts beating everyone up? But that aside, though, there is actually a part that it's also in the Whedon cut, but it's also here, and I'm glad for it. That so Superman holds up Wonder Woman, Aquaman, and Cyborg, which are coming at him, and Flash tries running behind him, and then all of a sudden Superman is like actually looking at him in the same speed, and Flash is like, the fuck?
Yeah, I did.
That,
I actually really enjoyed that as well. That was quite good.
that's a good moment.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, speaking of that scene, Gal Gadot, I recognized your accent when you say Kal-El, and I said it now, so you can probably hear exactly that we are from the same damn place.
Mm.
But yeah, that's
that's another thing though, right? That I was going to point out, right?
yeah.
Actually, that's not another thing. Just kind of continuing on from where I was before, right? With talking about how the Avengers felt like the Avengers, right? The second they all get together, they feel like the Avengers, and the Justice League doesn't really feel like the Justice League until like the final act, more or less, right? When you see them all in the final battle, and you see that moment of Batman driving his
Yeah,
car through the building, and
yeah, and
you
all of them
see
are, and all,
Aquaman land on the car, and all of them kind of working together, having their quips back
yeah,
and forth. That's the Justice League. That feels like, okay,
yeah,
now we've got the Justice League.
and I
I would have
understand
liked
this.
that a lot sooner, right? Having them
Yeah,
quip back and forth,
I
having
get
them have their
what
moments.
what I was about to say. It happens too late into the movie, but and
Mm-hmm.
also actually in that scene there's actually that actually pretty cool slow mo shot where you see like the Batmobile,
Mm-hmm.
but going and you see Wonder Woman on one point of the screen, flashing the other, and you actually get a team shot,
Yep.
and it's like, holy shit, that's cool. And guess what? That's not in the Whedon cut too.
Oof. Oof.
Yeah. So and that's another thing that I you know again and again Avengers also had like the team fighting for a good portion of the movie, but at the same time you could tell that these are people that are slowly getting to know each other, and they are eventually learning to trust each other. That's basically the arc of the movie, and you can argue that Loki's plan was basically to use their differences to break them apart and stuff. I don't feel like these people really grew as a team at the end of the day. It's just we got lucky this one time.
We worked together a little bit. Superman came in and saved our asses. We're a team now. Let's go.
Yeah,
I feel like
basically.
again that's where I go back to like all those scenes with Lois. I'm sorry, but Lois isn't a part of the Justice League. I would rather you like again give me that one scene with her and Martian Manhunter because that's integral to like the story of this film, right?
By the way, since
And
you
that's it.
asked, I did remember since you asked me the scene of her, at least showing us that it was Martian Manhunter that was in Malta's disguise. That's not in the Whedon cut. Like Martian Manhunter is nowhere in the Whedon cut. The
Ah.
Lois talking to Malta is, but
Mm-hmm.
that's it. And
Did
I
you?
think
But again, like in the Snyder cut, right? Like there's three or
yeah.
four other times we flash over to Lois. Like the first time we see
So
her, she gives that police officer coffee and goes to stand at where Superman died. The
actually,
second time
actually,
we see
that's
her,
that's added to the Snyder cut. That's not in the OG.
okay,
That's not
we don't need
that's not
that.
in the
What like was the scene of Lois kind of looking at one of Clark's old shirts and a photo of him? Like was that in the Whedon cut or was that
I
added by the
have
Snyder
a,
cut?
I have a gray memory that it was in it,
Hmm.
but
Could be,
again,
might not be.
it's kind of faded.
Yeah,
And
that's fair.
the scene where like she's talking to him in the farmhouse is in the Whedon cut, but it's extended upon in the Snyder cut.
Which that part is fine because you need that for the Superman bit, right? But and I guess I get why he did all this with Lois because again, like this is supposed to be like the ending trilogy to Superman's arc whatever arc that might be.
But yeah, but then again, here's the thing: like we also see him going back to the Fortress of Solitude and all of that, where he hears, his biological father's recording again.
Hmm.
Joel. He hears his recordings again, and he gets the new black suit, flies around a bit. We of course have that Jesus shot because we can't have a Superman movie without it.
Hmm.
And then
It is
and then it's
Superman
like,
after all.
yeah, and then he just goes to find the other league members, beat up Steppenwolf, and that's it. And he basically goes back to where he was at the start, at the ending of Man of Steel, and it's like, I don't feel like anything changed with him. I don't feel like any of these conversations or developments actually changed him as a character.
Yeah, because there's not a lot with him, and it's like that's why I would personally rather a lot of those, not all, but a lot of those lowest scenes, right, be
Hmm.
more devoted to the Justice League members that are alive at that moment and what they're doing. Show them quipping back and forth a bit more. Show them just having characters and those characters playing off of one another a bit more, because the bits and scraps that you do get when you see like Aquaman play off of Batman or Batman play off of, Flash or Flash play off of anybody, right? It's fun.
Hmm.
There's fun there. It's like, hey, these characters quipping back and forth. This is what you're here for. People didn't go to the Avengers just because they wanted to see the Avengers fight something. They wanted to see the Avengers interact with one another. Like that was the best thing about the Avengers is seeing Iron Man have to deal with like Thor or Hulk have to deal with, Thor, right? And seeing them
You
fight
know,
back and forth and
for
stuff like that. Like that's why you went to the film. You went to the film to see those characters interact,
and
not to
and
fight.
this is the point. This is kind of making me transition to something which is like, just to show you how messy this entire universe was as a whole to me, is
Hmm.
that, because basically, imagine this was basically like, if Man of Steel is Iron Man 1, then imagine if from Iron Man 1 we went straight to Civil War. Nothing else in between, you just went to Civil War, okay? To Captain America Civil War.
Ah,
And then after this,
yeah.
you got Guardians of the Galaxy. Then you got Captain America, the first Avenger, and then you got the Avengers.
Yeah, it'd be a little bit weird. It'd be very
Yeah,
weird and very
but you know
disjointed.
what? Yeah, but you know what? Okay, it doesn't have to be Marvel. I know that. But so let's take a look at this as its own thing. This is what we got. Let's judge it as it is.
Hmm.
Like, for one, for one, and this is a point. It's kind of a problem with Batman v Superman, but it relates to Justice League too. That Superman dies in the second movie of this entire franchise, and he spent most of that second movie fighting Batman, which is another member of the League. So, and the previous movie was his origin story. So it's like, we got his origin, and then we immediately got him dying,
Yeah, but
and
that
then we move,
you
and
go ahead,
then
go ahead.
we get yeah, and then we got to Justice League, where it's like, oh, we can actually bring him back to life now, and this is a thing that bothers me, because now it's kind of like, well, we know that if Superman dies again, or any one of them dies again, they might have a way to bring them back to life now. Just get the Flash, have him run as the box falls into the reviving water in the ship. Boom, back to life. When
I'm
you
you
It's
go
like,
ahead. I'll let you finish.
there isn't a limit to this kind of thing, and it just lessens the impact, because when I see a movie like this, I want to actually feel that one of those characters won't be making it out alive. Like, when I see Avengers Endgame, for example, I feared that I might not see Black Widow walk out of that movie, and she didn't. Her solo movie that's coming up takes place before Endgame, so don't use it as an excuse.
I
But
Go ahead.
and hold on, but the thing is that now I know that Superman can be revived. So if he dies again, I don't feel the impact. I don't feel that there's any kind of danger to any one of these people. And if they die, I don't get like, bringing Endgame again, when Tony dies and you see all of the heroes standing together at his funeral and you feel the impact. It's like, I want to see the Justice League like get together to mourn one of their fallen members, whoever that may be. Now
But
I just can't, because it's implied that they could just bring them back to life, no issues.
I'll disagree with you here. They can't bring them back to life because they were pretty clear about the boxes are destroyed. They can't use the boxes again. They're clear-ish about that, anyways, right? My
Okay,
issue more
fair
is,
point.
everything you're talking about. I don't think you're inherently wrong. I think the problem is again, right? Like, by the time you got to Civil War, right, with Captain America Civil War with Captain America versus Iron Man, right?
Yeah.
You had the Avengers already, right? Like the Avengers had come out. That you've seen the team work
The,
together. You've
yeah,
seen
they
them
also say
be a
in
team
that
together.
movie, they also say that in that movie, like Tony legit says, "I'm trying to prevent you from breaking the Avengers apart."
Yeah. And
And
you have Batman v Superman before you get them working together, right? Like I think Batman v Superman should have been after Justice League, right? You
yeah,
should have had
I
a
agree.
film or
Totally
two
agree.
of everyone working together before you had a film of people not working together, of people
Mhm.
being, at each other's throat, of an issue. And you even have, right? Like you have the setup of like, Justice League has the epilogue of Superman going evil because apparently Lois dies in this like future or alternate reality or what have you. And it's like that should have been your Batman v Superman, not Batman v Superman now, right? Like, now we have Batman v Superman, so we've already seen them fight one another. We don't need to see them fight one another again because we've done seen it. Like,
And
yeah, sure, it'll be different this time, but again, we've done seen it already. We don't need it again. We needed that after Justice League, which again you have the
so
setup for here, but it's like you've already done Batman v Superman now, so now people are less interested. We've seen this, something new. Move on.
yeah. Well, so we talked about this a lot, and I think I basically got all my points covered. But we didn't really talk about a lot of other. We talked about the Flash. We talked about Batman and Superman. I mentioned Wonder Woman briefly. What did you think of Wonder Woman in this?
I thought she was fun enough. I think again, right? Not a lot of character with her. I would have liked more moments with her, but we did get one really good scene with her and Cyborg and her trying to connect to Cyborg and the fact that Cyborg, lost his mom and kind of dealing with being
That's in the Whedon cut, by the way.
that is in the Whedon cut. I mean, again, like that's
Yeah.
nice, right? I think that works. I think that's a good scene. That's something you should keep, right? That's something that you should expand upon because that's the Justice League members interacting with one another, which is why you're here. You want to see these
And I
characters
will
interact.
say the interactions between Batman and Wonder Woman are good.
Yeah,
Like they
yeah, they're
were,
fun.
they were a strong part in Batman v Superman. They carry it over here, but then like Cyborg was just. If you were to ask me what the hell he was in the Whedon cut, I wouldn't be able to tell you. They're trying to select. Oh, he's part machine. He doesn't like it. He thinks he's a monster. Yada yada yada. And it's just okay, whatever. Another emo in this universe full of emos, I suppose. I
Hmm.
didn't care for him then. In this one, they actually gave him a lot more character, and that he actually learns to kind of forgive his father for that accident, and
Hmm.
actually learn how to embrace his robot side,
Yeah.
that he's actually. And so I like that. It doesn't make I won't say it's one of my favorites, and that I would hurry up to see a solo movie about him or anything, but he's fine in
My
this.
my my only
I,
problem, right, I would say is just like Batman, just like a lot of the other characters in this film, Cyborg again, like you said it yourself, another emo in this universe filled with
yeah.
emos, right? Like he's too brooding in this. Smile, damn
You
it,
wouldn't.
smile.
You
Like that's why
like.
Flash is so fun. He fucking smiles.
No, so here's the thing. Cyborg doesn't even smile once in the Whedon cut. The only thing we get to
He
is
doesn't
when
in the
they.
Snyder cut either.
No, he has moments where he flies and stuff. He
I said,
actually
but
smiled.
That wasn't a smile. That was like, I'm a little
Okay,
happy.
that's
Get out of here,
performance thing.
smile.
You.
That's not even a
Okay,
performance
so
thing. That just wasn't a smile. And nothing
okay.
else he does is a smile either. But the one thing he had that he did was at the very end when him and Flash fist bumped one another. It's like, all right, that's cool.
You
More of
know,
that
you know,
shit.
you know what's you know what the funny thing about this is that the Snyder cut the Whedon cut trying making an arc out of that fist bump.
Oh god.
Like there's the point where they dig up Superman's grave. I think it's in a bit in this one. A bit of it is in the Snyder cut too,
Yeah,
and it's
yeah, it's
like
there.
when. So in the Whedon cut, there's a point where Flash like tells Cyborg, "Yeah, we found it," and he tries to give him a fist bump, and it's like, "Okay, you know what? Yeah, I get it. We're not there yet." And then in the end, they actually fist bump each other. So it's like, "Yay, we got an arc revolving around that." I'm so all this movie needed.
Mm.
Like
But
uh, but uh,
even
but okay,
Aquaman is extremely
and
broody and
yeah, and here's
emo
the
and.
thing.
But at least
Here's
he
the thing,
again he
though.
smiles a little bit. Wonder Woman
Yeah,
smiles a
but
bit.
and here's my problem though that in the Whedon cut, I was like I saw because prior to this, all of my experience with Aquaman was just like people say he's lame. Like people always told me Aquaman sucks. Aquaman is lame, and I remember even when
Yeah,
I
I've heard
saw
the
this
same.
and when I remember even when I saw a commentary group on YouTube that are like their name is Brain Scratch Coms. Go listen to them. When they played the first Injustice game, and there are scenes where Aquaman is actually like kicking ass, and the guy who recorded edited like this is message to gamers. Please take Aquaman seriously, and all of them just started laughing and going, haha, no. So and I was like, okay, you know what? You put Aquaman in a movie, and then you announce that he's getting his own solo movie, and I was like, I walked out of both the Whedon cut and Snyder cut of Justice League feeling like I don't care about this guy. Like he wasn't awful, but I also like I don't want to see more about him. I don't want to learn anything new about him. Like I haven't seen his solo movie. Not interested in the slightest.
Supposedly, the
And
Aquaman movie is the highest grossing film out of all the DCEU, though, if I'm not
yeah,
mistaken.
that's what I heard. That's what and people, and people claim that it's actually okay, but like I just don't care. I don't care about Aquaman. You can't make me care.
I
And it's
mean,
like,
to be fair though,
and
Jason Momoa as Aquaman was a really good pick in my opinion. Like he
no,
does great.
it's nothing against Jason Momoa. I mean, he's a good actor, and supposedly maybe he's going to voice Knuckles in the Sonic sequel, which I'm very looking forward to. So,
Even in
so it's like,
Justice League, you found a way to reference Sonic.
did you know that Roger Craig Sonic's previous English voice actor, voiced Batman a few times?
And video deleted.
Sure, we recorded for an hour, and you're going to delete all of that. Yeah, I'm shaking in my boots, which I'm not wearing.
I'm
But
extremely petty, HC.
yeah,
Extremely petty.
well, you're last. You're going to have to watch the entire 4 hours thing again. Anyway, so but the point is that and before going into Captain America: The First Avenger, people also told me like, ah, Captain America is a bit lame. We don't really care, and but then I saw the First Avenger because I knew there was at this point it was pretty obvious there was going to be a universe thing and everything, and it was like, you know what? I actually liked Captain America in that, and I saw
Yeah.
Avengers, and I'm like, I like Captain America. He's not that lame. He's actually pretty cool. And then Winter Soldier comes around, and it's like, so if I can change perspective of Captain America from one movie, for a movie, then why not, and then Aquaman doesn't do the same for me. It's probably a problem, if you
Again,
know
right?
what I
Like I
mean.
think when's the first time we see Captain America? It's Avengers, isn't it?
Uh, no. It's he has does Captain America: The First Avenger. He
So yeah,
does
that
get a
that
song.
that comes out before Avengers, before they have like the group one, right?
True, but then again,
No,
for
like
context, like,
which one comes
but
out
I would.
first, Avengers or Captain America: First Avenger?
Captain America: First Avenger
All
comes
right, so yeah,
first.
he has his solo movie first, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I will counter you with that by
Well,
saying that.
I'm not done yet, but
Okay,
no, you go
but
ahead.
okay. So all I'll say about this is that like take for example my mother who doesn't really care. She haven't read a comic in her life. She doesn't. But I showed her the Avengers without any of the solo movies, and she's like, "I'm interested in Captain America. I want to see more of him based on solely the Avengers." She didn't need the first,
Yeah,
his own movie,
yeah,
which came before that.
yeah. What I was going to say is right. The reason Captain America works, like even if you like, I didn't like. I was asking because I was going to say right. If the Avengers came out first, the reason why you can get into Captain America and all the Avengers, right, and be willing and want to watch those other movies, whether you hate Marvel or whether you love the Marvel EU or whether you hate it, right? The thing about Justice League is that again, one of my second biggest complaint with this film, I don't feel like there's a lot of character interaction between these characters, and I just don't feel like there's characters there. I feel like they're very much. I feel like there's great actors playing these characters, but I don't feel like I'm given the chance to really get into these characters and know a lot about them. Most of their emotion is brooding. The only ones who
Also,
have like any kind of actual emotion are Wonder Woman and Flash, right? Like those two characters
and
are the only ones
again,
that
I
feel
will
like they're
say,
characters there.
yeah, and again, I will say about Wonder Woman is that most of the stuff I kind of like about her are stuff that are just carried over from the fact I've seen her in Batman v Superman and in her own movie, but like in this movie, like she has her moments. I'm not saying, and for the record, each hero has his moment in the Snyder Cut. I'm not saying there isn't, but
Hmm.
it's not enough for me to say I necessarily like all of those people more than the Whedon cut without a doubt, but not fully.
Yeah, again, that's I come back to like the Snyder Cut has a lot in it, but I don't feel, but so much of it is centered around stuff that isn't important to the Justice League and these
And here's
characters. And it's
and
like
this
if
is
you
the
would have
other thing.
dedicated a lot more to the Justice League and these characters interacting and these characters being characters, I think it would have been a lot better. Because again, getting to
Yeah,
see Wonder Woman kind of be vulnerable to Cyborg to try and connect with him, that's a good character moment. Having her kind of have her bit of back and forth with Batman and then be awkward around one another, that's a good character moment. Having Flash
yeah,
be awkward around everyone and make jokes and little quips, trying to like fit in a little bit, those are good character moments because again it's like that
yeah,
shows him as a character, and then again getting to see him like, oh, he's awkward, he's a bit socially awkward, he has these little quips and these little issues with everyone, but then you get to see him like have his moment of running away, of running at, trying to get around Superman, and Superman kind of looking at him, and you see the reaction from him, and you see Flash also kind of dodging him and being able to keep up with Superman. Those are good character
and
moments, and they
again,
build Flash, and that's
and
why
again we
Flash is so
have
likable.
yeah, and again he has that moment where he is actually trying to hold the charge, which he
Yes,
hasn't done
and
before,
then it goes back
and
to him, and you kind of like, hey, I can't hold this forever. Come on, let's do this. And again, you see how much he's struggling and how much he's trying. Like, you tell me that a Flash movie's coming out, I'll go watch a Flash movie because
uh,
I mean,
here's supposedly they're saying that the Flash movie is gonna reboot the whole thing, but
mm,
who knows?
but again, right, like there's a Superman movie out. I'm not too interested in going out and watching a Superman movie based on this. I'm not too interested in going out and watching a Batman movie based off this. Wonder Woman,
Yeah.
I am a little bit interested in. I'd go out and watch a Wonder Woman movie based off of this because I got something from her. Flash,
Watch the fir- watch
absolutely.
the fir-
Let
watch
me
the first
finish,
one.
HC. Quit interrupting. God dang it.
Sorry,
You're fine.
sorry.
No, I get you,
Just
right?
had
Like, watch the
to.
first one, don't go watch the second one. But again, right, my point is like, there are some characters I would absolutely go out and watch a film for them for. Other characters, not so much because I just don't feel as interested in them. Like you said, Aquaman, Batman, Superman, Cyborg. I'm just not as interested in those characters, and I just don't see myself going out and watching a film based off of just this film. I watched the Avengers. I'm interested in pretty much all those characters, and I want to see a film with all of them because they all interest me, and I want to learn and know more about them because they are characters. And that kind of goes back to a lot of Zack Snyder's problem with a lot of like bleh, that goes back to a problem with a lot of Zack Snyder's films. His characters don't really feel like characters. They very much feel like I don't want to necessarily say tropes, but they feel like very like here's the one character emotion, here's the one character trait you're going to know this character for. That is it. Have fun, go. Because
Uh,
really, you don't come to Zack Snyder films for the characters. You don't come to Zack Snyder films for the story necessarily. You go to it for the action. Like that's what most people
yeah,
watch Zack
but
Snyder films for is the action.
yeah,
Which,
but at the same
to
time,
his credit,
for
he's
me,
damn good at it. But character writing, story writing, he suffers at, in my opinion, with a lot of his
yeah,
films.
and again, it's cool that we have good action, but at the same time, if I don't care about the characters, then the action is just noise.
Yep,
That,
agreed. Absolutely agreed.
and and so this is actually kind of brings me back to Steppenwolf, which I started talking about, and we tangent
Hey,
completely.
there's a villain in
Okay,
this film. Who knew?
yeah, yeah. But here's the thing.
I thought the villain
He's
was just three boxes.
you know something, might as well, might as fucking well. But here's the thing. Here's the thing about Steppenwolf. Uh, so the thing about him is that he's, and we see it. This is not in the Whedon cut, by the way. There are scenes of Steppenwolf like talking to Darkseid, and it's like, I'm going to make you proud. I'm going to do the. I'm going to do this. And I found one of the mother boxes. Now I found two, and then I found all of them, and I'm going to bring it.
He's
And it's like,
reporting in back to mom. He needs to let mom know. He wants
but
mom to put it
here's
on the fridge.
fuck his mom. Okay, but here's the thing. Here's the thing that annoys me. Okay, that
Mm-hmm.
basically because it's again, and people could say, in the Avengers, Loki basically did the whole thing for Thanos, and it's like, yeah, you're right, but here's the problem. One, Loki actually got something from Thanos, which was a big ass army, which made him, which made it that is threatening, and was something that the Avengers needed to combine forces in order to defeat. And also, we attacked a city with actual people in it. Kind of important that there are stakes in this fucking movie. But then again, we also didn't know Thanos was a thing until the mid credit scene of the Avengers. Like, we didn't see his face. We didn't really know who Loki was walking from. We didn't even get a glimpse of him until the middle of the
To be
credits.
fair, we
Here,
didn't see Darkseid himself until the very end. Like the guy we saw was another one of Darkseid's underlings, and that was it.
no, we see Darkseid several times in this, and
Well,
even
yeah,
if
that's
he,
true. I take
and
it
the
back.
thing here is that I can take this villain seriously. That because one, again, each one of the league could possibly beat him by their own. They don't need to join forces for it. And two, I know that there's a bigger threat here. So why should I give a shit about this guy? Like, and this is the other thing that Batman v Superman kind of jumped the gun. I think with setting Darkseid up, which is like, again, they have an entire Batman dream sequence, which is like, "Ooh, Darkseid, look at this! Darkseid is here! Darkseid, he's coming!" And it's like, and here we just see him like it's no big deal, and Steppenwolf dies at the end, and Darkseid's like, "Okay, now I should do this thing myself." We basically, like, so what was Steppenwolf actually doing? I don't think like, what even was he? He was a pawn. That's what he was. He was a
Mm-hmm.
sheep. That
Which,
was
which which is fine, right? Like if I'm not mistaken, the Avengers film had not Thanos, but the other Avengers film, Infinity
you
War. Is
mean
that the
Guardians
one?
of
No, not Guardians of the
no,
Galaxy.
you
It's the
mean
one
Age of
with
Ultron?
Ultron. That's the one. Like Ultron is
Yeah,
supposed
but
to
the
be
thing is,
Thanos's pawn too, right?
no. Here's the thing: Ultron is not even related to
Oh,
Thanos.
never mind then. I
Yeah,
was wrong.
like the thing about Ultron is that Tony created him in order because he knew the threat of Thanos was coming, and so he tried to create like an armor around the world to protect it, and basically his own creation backfired on him.
Hmm.
So Ultron isn't really related to Thanos at all.
Well,
So
he's tangentially related, right? Like he was
He's re-
Tony's, he was a created villain by Tony, but he's technically, created because of Thanos. But again, right, like
yeah, but
that's like,
But it doesn't sell them. He like
yeah.
when the Avengers fought Ultron, they fought Ultron. They didn't fight Thanos on the way. Ultron was basically serving his own agendas.
But I mean, to agree with your point, right? Like that's the thing about Thanos. For the longest time, he was just a name. Like there was no image of him barely at all. There was no, like he was just an ideal. Like we know he's coming. Thanos, he's like the Voldemort of Marvel, right? And it's so everyone's
Or
preparing and
something.
doing different things to stop Thanos and keep Thanos away. And it's like, you know, and so you have Ultron, and they create Ultron, and Ultron ends up betraying them and becoming a villain. But Ultron was intended purpose was to defeat and stop Thanos and save the Earth from Thanos. Right? Again, it's all like Thanos, is there, but he's just the name. Darkseid here, he's, as you say, like you even see Darkseid attack the Earth originally, and he's defeated. You see Darkseid defeated by people who aren't even the Justice League. They're just heroes in
Like
another
in the
sense.
flashbacks, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like,
When the
so it takes away from Darkseid's threat when you see it. Darkseid has already been defeated by people of Earth who weren't even the Justice League. Like, he didn't even fight Superman, yet he was already beaten. So it's like,
uh,
you know,
and
Superman
here's another
apparently will
thing.
beat him even worse. And I think, and when you combine that with the epilogue of seeing that, oh, Superman betrays the planet and starts working with Darkseid because Lois dies, right? It's like, that's once more Darkseid's no longer the villain again. Superman's the villain now, and it's like that's fine, but at the same time, it's like you've been building up this guy to then undercut that guy with Superman again, and it's like your big bad, your supposedly big bad evil dude, who's the big bad evil of all of DC, doesn't feel that big or that bad or that threatening because again he's
Now,
undercut by everyone else.
yeah, and but to actually build up on it, I just realized that Steppenwolf and the Darkseid in this were kind of like Ronan and Thanos in Guardians of the Galaxy. Like we saw Ronan talk to Thanos and stuff, but like Ronan was like the villain that the Guardians fought.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the difference, though. And that's a major difference that the Guardians, each one by themselves, couldn't have beaten Ronan. And we see them getting their ass handed to them by him. It's only when they have the Infinity Stone that they manage to actually beat him. And the other thing about this is that again we see Ronan talking to Thanos, but we kind of knew from the mid credits scene of the Avengers that Thanos was a thing, and you don't really know what he's capable of. You just know that people are serving him. And again, in Guardians, the Gamora has a personal relationship
Mm-hmm.
with Thanos. She is his adopted daughter. She starts by serving him, and then Drax hates Ronan and by extension Thanos because they killed his family. And so already two of the Guardians are connected to this thing, and it helps feel like Ronan is actually a threat without Thanos. Without Darkseid, I don't see Steppenwolf as a threat. And again, honestly, I I don't think there was enough build up for Darkseid to actually feel like he's wanted them. Like obviously he probably would when if we got the future movies and everything, but at the same time I'm just like, okay, so now this guy is gonna be the villain again. Only this time he's gonna do it himself, and I don't care. I don't care.
Yeah, that's actually a good point, right? One of the things about Steppenwolf you see is you see Steppenwolf in the league and these different heroes fight quite a few times. But the thing about it is Steppenwolf always leaves, right? He gets what he wants and he leaves. Like, oh, Steppenwolf won, but it doesn't really
Mhm.
feel like Steppenwolf won. It feels like, yeah, they lost one of the boxes, but the fight there didn't feel like anyone really lost, right? It felt like it
It
was
was like
just
uh, again, it was like
it
we
happened.
lost a battle. We lost a battle, not the war.
But
That's
it doesn't even feel like that, right? Because, like, again, each fight, right? Like Steppenwolf comes in, he, you know, they fight him. There's a bit of a back and forth, but at the same time, like, neither side is able to really beat the other side. It looks like, oh, they're in danger a little bit, but then someone comes in, does something, turns the tide a little bit. Steppenwolf then gets what he wants, and he leaves, and he's out. And they can't find him again for a bit until they do find him again, and then they fight again. Right? It's it doesn't feel like that's the thing with Ronan, right? Like, you saw each of the characters try to fight him and lose miserably, right?
Yeah.
With Steppenwolf, we've not, you don't see each of the characters try to fight him and lose miserably. You just see them kind of fight a bit, have their back and
Like
forth,
there's the
and
thing,
then that's it.
like you said, there's the point, like when Steppenwolf goes to Atlantis to like take the mother box from there, and Aquaman just shows up as everything wraps up, and they're like, he took the mother box. You're ashamed to your mother, and it's like,
I mean,
okay,
at least in that one, they do show Aquaman fighting him and Aquaman losing, but the fight ends so quickly that it's one
yeah,
easy to forget and compare. It ends
and
so
it's also
quickly that it's
slow.
easy to forget in this film that's 4 hours long, and two, it doesn't feel like they really fought. It feels like they had a bit of an altercation and that was it. And then you go to,
Yeah,
like, Steppenwolf fighting the Amazons, right, and getting the first box from them. It's like, you never have him and Wonder Woman fight until much later in, and he even acknowledges, like, oh, you're stronger than your sisters, and you're one of the strongest here. You'll actually be a threat. He actually wants to take Wonder Woman on his own because she's more of a threat. She's more worthy of an opponent. But again, like, you never see anything come of that. You never see one of them really lose or win in that regard. Like, there's this sense that he's apparently stronger than Wonder Woman, but then there's also not this sense that he's stronger than Wonder Woman. Nothing feels exceptionally concrete as to why they need Superman back.
yep. Now I had a point I wanted to bring up. What was it? Um,
Also, you don't see Batman do a lot in this film either, I feel.
yeah,
Like, he's kind of just
yeah.
around.
That's actually something I want to bring up. It's not necessarily related to Batman himself, even though, he's the one that technically puts the league together, if you
Yeah.
want
Yeah,
to.
like, he's
But
doing
then again,
work, but it feels like he's also just there.
mhm. And then we get this thing that, this is the first time we see Commissioner Gordon in this universe.
Oh,
And
cool.
and you get one of my favorite actors of all time, J.K. Simmons, to play him. When I heard this, I was like, you know what? I'm not a big fan of these movies, but fuck yeah, this is like top tier casting.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And
Agreed.
he gets like what, 2 scenes?
But there are great two scenes.
Yeah, and again, these 2 scenes are not long, are not anything, and it's just like, okay, like, did we really get J.K. Simmons to just do these 2 scenes and that's it?
Yep.
Like, I felt gypped.
Well, you also got the
And
wonderful, lovely, the best Willem Dafoe as well in this film to play, like, a bit character.
yeah, what was that point? What was the point of that? I was like, oh shit, that's Willem Dafoe. And it's like, what is he even doing here? What was the point? And you know
Yeah.
something? I don't think Willem Dafoe, that scene with Willem Dafoe isn't even in the Whedon cut. This is specifically made for this.
Yep. Oh,
So it's
okay.
like,
Good to know. I mean,
so,
they have
so
a
it's like,
lot of, like, strong casting in this film. Like, make no mistake, there's a lot of, really good casting in this film, but a lot of them are just kind of wasted.
yeah. So should we talk about the ending?
I mean, we've mentioned it here and there, but yeah, sure, let's go into it.
Yeah, but like, so they defeat Steppenwolf, and Darkseid is like, I'm gonna come back one day, and all of that. And then there's like this entire thing that Superman goes back to being the protector of Metropolis. Okay, sure. And by the way, Clark Kent is also kind of back from the dead. Pointed it out. No one is going to draw the connections. And then there's this thing of Batman like talking to a lot of people. Like, he talks to Martian Manhunter, and then there's the scene with the Joker.
Yeah, in our alternate reality slash future where Superman starts killing a bunch of people, right? We see, like, Wonder Woman's dead. Apparently, Aquaman was killed by Superman. And
Which,
now the
by the
only
way,
ones left
again,
are Batman, Deadshot, Cyborg, Flash, who's older now, and the Joker.
I also want to bring up, considering this universe, at least, this vision of Justice League isn't going to be. I don't know why they even bothered filming it. Like, why even tease us? Because you could have saved that for an interview afterwards, but all this does is just set people up for things that we are probably never going to see.
Mm. So
Because because
I've
again, this
heard
is not canon.
I've heard a lot about Jared Leto's Joker. Some good, a lot of bad. Gotta say, I didn't like this Joker. With the small
I
scene I got of him, I don't know if
and
I'd like
this
it.
is
I would have to see
this
more, but I don't know if I'd
this
like it.
is this is one of the things I want to talk about with that scene in
Uh oh.
particular. Okay,
Here we
because
go.
for one, I should just say I didn't like Jared Leto's Joker in Suicide Squad. It was like, and I don't know if it's necessarily him or the direction or something else, but he just didn't do it for me. He was completely off
Mm.
uh, in that movie. And so then, and a lot of people felt the same about him, like from what I've seen anyway. There were the people who liked him, sure, but a lot of people just kind of seem to agree he wasn't a good Joker, and I would stand by that.
And
Now,
here,
and here I sound like people like maybe we treated him too harshly. Maybe we did something. Maybe we did something. Maybe we judged him too poorly. And so, for one, I didn't feel any bit different about him. I still think he's a
mm-hmm,
bad Joker. I
mm-hmm,
still don't like the way he talks or looks or anything.
mm,
And you know what? Even if it was an okayish scene, it's still one scene against a whole movie where he sucks. So
mm,
no, this is not like a grand redemption. This is like, okay, maybe we have a step in the right direction. Second of all, people treat this scene, and I've seen people call it like, "Ooh, these are like this is like one of the best Batman and Joker moments," and I'm like, have you people read The Killing Joke? Have
I
you
was gonna
people
say.
seen Batman Beyond Return of the Joker? Have you seen anything from the DC animated universe or The Dark Knight or Batman 89? This is not even close to being top 5 Batman and Joker moments. Like,
Agreed.
just no. Like, the Joker has one line I like, which kind of references, Jason Todd, which is like, "Don't send the boy to do a man's job." Okay, that was a cool line, and they like a little wink, wink. Jason Todd was a thing in this universe, wink, wink. But other than that, no.
Agreed. Like, it's not bad by any means, but it's just I just personally, it didn't. I didn't like it. Right. It didn't grab me. It didn't like. Yeah, this is Joker. It just didn't really feel like him. Maybe I'm being too like nostalgia blind for like the animated Joker and Mark Hamill's Joker, right? But this Joker just doesn't really work for me. Like we've seen a lot of different Jokers, right? And I think the two that again most stand out to me would be the Bruce Nolan films Joker and Mark Hamill's Joker, right?
Mhm.
This one maybe if I saw more it would win me over, but as it stands with the little scene I got here in the Justice League film, I'm not sold on Jared Leto's Joker by this scene.
Mhm. And yeah, this didn't really do anything for me aside kind of mourn the fact that he's the only live action Joker that appeared in more than one movie.
Okay.
Well, what else is there
Well,
to? Oh, and again, the scene with Lex Luthor and Deathstroke. This is the thing that this was the Whedon Cuts post credit scene.
mm, okay. Good to know. So that means Batman dies in the next film. We bring Batman back. HC's favorite.
Uh, you know something? You say that, and here's my next problem. You know, with this not being canon, with this not taking any priorities in DC's in Warner's way of thinking, I don't know what's going to happen next. Again, they say that. I just want to say that they say that the Flash movie is probably going to be the Flashpoint arc, where they're gonna reboot the whole thing. But okay, if
Weird.
you're gonna reboot the whole thing, fine. But what does it mean? What does it mean though? Like everything we just been through basically means nothing.
Wait, if you're if you're rebooting the whole thing, what's the point in all the past stuff? Like, what's set up now? Like, yeah, it's just you can't reboot it because you don't have anything to reboot yet, Warner Bros. Like, come on.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is Warner Bros. Has a lot of problems with this. Like, they're just, God help them, they're terrible at making movies. They try, bless them. They try desperately, but
because here's the thing, people say that Aquaman is good. I haven't seen it, but okay.
yeah, I've heard good
And people
things.
also say I haven't seen Shazam, but people really like that one.
Also heard good things.
And then there's Joker, which has no relation to it, but my God, Joker is a great movie. So it's like people don't know what they're doing, but I don't know. Like, let people who do the thing. Who do the good things do the good things. I suppose. I don't know. It's weird.
It's so simple, but it works.
Yeah.
How groundbreaking. Again, right? Like, Warner Bros. Tries, bless them, but they fail more than they succeed more often than not. And I don't know how, but they manage. But it's again, right? Like, I assume, right? Considering they say, oh, Zack Snyder's Justice League cut isn't canon to what we're actually going to do. What I'm going to bet they're going to do, and I could be completely wrong, but my bet would be they have their setup of Deadshot trying to kill Batman, and within that setup, Lois is the one who gets killed, not Batman, and that's when you go to like the Dark Side film and all that, right? With Superman betraying them all. I just about guarantee that's what they'll end up doing.
Mm-hmm.
I just about guarantee. That's my guess, anyways. I could be entirely wrong. We'll see, but that would be my guess is what they'll do. So technically, the Snyder Cut isn't, not true. It's just what you see in the Snyder Cut isn't happening anytime soon. Like, they're building up to that more, which maybe that'll be a good thing. Maybe that build up will help them out a lot more, and that will allow them to be like, more similar to Marvel in how they're all set up, right? And they have a better plan now, hopefully. But it remains to be seen, right? Like, they have a lot of catching up to do, and they have a lot of like, hey, what you've shown me so far hasn't sold me that you're going to have your version of that. That you're going to like, that DC is going to be comparable with that yet. They have a lot of work.
I don't know. But I will say one thing though. I'm gonna credit the Whedon cut for one thing over the Snyder cut.
It's shorter?
No.
Yeah.
It's so when Superman comes back for the final fight, in the Whedon cut, he wears his traditional costume, and in this one, I just don't like the black suit.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of meh. Like, it's more like Superman's costume is so colorful and so standout, and it's Snyder, man. He hates color. I'm telling you, it scares him, and I don't understand why. Like, Snyder, if you need to talk, I'm here. I can help you understand color and make it to where you're no longer afraid of color. It can't hurt you, I promise. Color is a good thing, I promise. Rainbows exist, and they're very beautiful, Snyder, I promise. You don't need to have a black rainbow, an all black and gray and white rainbow. It don't look good. You might think it does, but it don't. Let me help you help me to enjoy your movies more by adding color to them, Snyder. Let's talk. I know you're watching. I know you're listening
Yeah,
because this is
he
the
is.
this is the best podcast around, no question.
Yeah, but I will say this because I think people probably people who are listening to this probably already commented on like how dare I compare this to the Whedon cut and everything. Here's the thing. I want to close by saying one thing though about this whole fiasco. That the reason I'm comparing this to the Whedon cut is because the Whedon cut is what 4 years ago I paid money to see in theaters. A lot of other people paid money to see that in theaters, and a lot of people also paid money to own it on DVD and Blu-ray. The poor souls that did. So, so with that said, if people paid money to see it, I can still judge it even if there is a better movie out there. And for the record, for the record, in order to see the Snyder cut, you need how much is an HBO Max?
Oh God.
Like,
It depends on
let's
which
say,
version of HBO Max you get, but
let's say 10 a month.
at least. Yeah,
Yeah,
$10 a month. I think is the
yeah,
bare minimum.
yeah. So you need to. So you pay 10. So let's say you're paying $10 because you want to see the Snyder cut, and that's it. Okay. And for those $10, you are also getting much more content that you could be seeing with the addition of the Snyder cut. You're not paying this entire price just for that one movie. For the Whedon cut,
Like
I had
Game
to
of
pay one ticket
Thrones.
to. I needed to pay for one movie ticket to see just that, and I am still going to criticize it, even if there is technically a better version out there. That's just how things work. And also, I just don't like this idea that we release unfinished movies to theaters and then get better versions out there for home media. When I
Yeah.
go see a movie in theaters, I expect it to be the final, at least a competent product. And if it
Agreed.
isn't without additional scenes, then the movie fails. And
I mean,
I'm going to talk about it, damn
it
it.
it's even worse, right? Because you know for a fact Warner Bros. Has already told you that this film doesn't really matter, that nothing from this film matters. So you have to judge the DC extended universe based off of that original Joss Whedon film, of the original, you know, Justice League film, right? Like that's what you have to judge the DCEU off of now. Like that's the film you got, that's the film they're moving forward with. This one was
Yeah, that's
a
another thing. The
bonus if
Whedon
you like
cut is
Snyder films, but that's it.
Yeah, again, that's another thing. The Whedon cut is canon. So if people are going to go back and rewatch all of these universes movies in order to be caught up with whatever happens next, then the Snyder cut ain't going to deliver them what they need. It's
Mhm.
just an experiment, which again, good for Zack Snyder for doing it and be able to finish his vision and get it out there. But at the end of the day, it means nothing. It's it's just an experiment.
An alternate universe in a universe
Hmm.
filled with alternate universes.
Yeah. So anything else? Because I think I pretty much said everything
I
I
mean,
wanted to.
yeah, I think we've covered it all really. Like again, you've heard us talk about a lot of stuff we disliked with this film. You've heard us talk about a lot of stuff we liked with this film. It's not a worse film by any stretch of the imagination, right? I just I think we'd both agree that it's not a good film. It's not a great film, it's
Mhm.
not a good film. It's not even a film I personally would say is worth the 4 hours you spend watching it. But if you have
Yeah.
nothing better to do, if you have nothing else you want to do, and you have 4 hours to kill, you could do a lot worse than this watching this film. Like it's not a bad film by any means. It's just not a great film, right?
Yeah.
And
So with that said,
for me personally, I'll say one last thing. This film I don't think has sold me on the DCEU. I have no want to go out and rush and watch any of the other films. Barring one or two maybe, I'm just not interested. Like, Marvel Avengers, that sold me. Justice League hasn't sold me, and that's a problem.
So with
Maybe
that
Warner Bros. Can bring
said,
it back, but yeah. Sorry, I keep
who
interrupting your
knows?
outro.
No, it's okay. All I'll say is that
You
I
can
don't
outro
think
now.
even Warner Brothers. I don't know if even Warner Brothers are sure of what they're gonna do with it. But with that said, that's all for this episode of the Outcast. We hope you enjoyed. What did you think about Justice League? Either of the cuts, you can tell us all about us in the comment section below. On our Tumblr, which is Bearcast Team, and on our Twitter, which is Bearcast with a capital B, capital C. I'm looking forward to the hate because we didn't say it's the greatest thing ever, and we're sorry, but that's what we
No,
stand.
you
That's what
can't
we
hate
stand.
us. We're special.
Mm-hmm.
We're
Unprofessional
wonderful.
and debatably amusing.
Yeah,
Woohoo!
that's
And
us. You
so
can't hate us for that.
with that said, I was HC,
I was Wolf.
and we will see you all next time. Take care.
Bye bye.